Hi. Okay, so this is my reflection for my Module 2 project, which was my Math Sinners. And again, I have notes, so I'll probably be looking down for some of it, but I'll try to look up as much as I can. The first thing I'm going to do is just reflect on the major points that you wanted us to reflect on, and then I'll go ahead and look at the keep form and the actual constructs within that. So first off, my effectiveness or ineffectiveness of the assessments that I used. The most ineffective assessment I used was by far the math worksheet because I did not space the problems out, and I should have. I didn't think about the fact that they were only kindergartners, and having problems that close together was actually really, really hard for them. I thought I had spaced them out well enough, but I hadn't. So that was a really good learning experience for me, and now I'm definitely more aware of that. On the measuring and graphing, my questions were really good. The only thing I would have fixed was on the measuring. I probably would have let them do more of it on their own because I don't feel like I did enough of that. And then, the other thing on the addition and subtraction one is that I should have done fewer problems because I had maybe like 3 or 4 kids that got all the way done out of the entire class, not just my group. So it was just too many problems, which again, not a huge deal, but that kept them from getting through addition and subtraction. If I had split it up into 2 groups like it was originally supposed to be, that wouldn't have been as big of a problem, but I still think it would be smart to take a few problems off. Grouping choices, it was by level. I actually, though, did not get to have much say in it. She grouped the students before I got there, which was fine. She did group them by level, and my group was actually mostly upper level. If I could redo this, I would request a lower level group just for the sake of it being better practice for myself. There are 2 ELLs in this class, and I did not have either of them in my group. I'm pretty sure one of them was sick that day. But again, just practice like that is really what I need. So if I had gone into her class again, I would have requested the class, or not the class, excuse me, the group that had maybe the lower level learners and more of the ELL students, just for the sake of me being able to practice more. But as far as my group, they were probably, I think I had the mid-level group, and then there was one group that was higher than them. As far as behavior challenges, again, there weren't really any behavior problems in my group. I know that class because I was in it last semester, and there are students in that class with behavior problems, but I didn't have any in my class with them. Or in my group, excuse me. The only big problem that I ran into was actually having my phone film. That was a distraction, but I found that if I ignored it, they ignored it too. And you'll see in the videos, especially one of them definitely like stared at it, but once he noticed that I wasn't paying attention to it, I think it was a lot easier for him to stop paying attention to it. And so that really wasn't a big problem at all, which was good. The keep form, just in general, I want to throw out that I think it's really helpful to have someone else doing a form on us also. It helped me do my reflection process because I was able to see things that I wouldn't really catch, but that Mrs. Winholtz graded me down on. I was able to think about, okay, why would she have graded me down on that? And that reflection just really helped me think deeper, and it really helped me realize things that I probably wouldn't have thought of earlier. For example, the first construct was learner and learning, and I did plan based on the learning and the developmental levels of all the students. I did it well because I knew the students, because like I said, I was in this class last semester. If I hadn't known the students, that would have been more difficult, but I was aware that there were 2 ELL students. I was aware that there were students that had ADD and ADHD. Because of that, that was one of the reasons I used games to make it more interesting. I used the iPad to help entertain the kids that have ADD and ADHD, and really that helps all the learners. The counters I use to help the ELLs see, because I feel like sometimes it can be hard for them to see, okay, 2 plus 3 is 5, but why? But when they know how to count, and they can count the counters, it just helps them visually. And then the graphs I thought were good because it helps students see visually what was more or less. In addition to seeing them sorted out, they could see what was more or less. So I think they were just able to see it multiple ways, and I think that was a big plus. And that all goes along with fostering individual differences as well. again, the main problem was my math worksheet because it was really just lots of writing. They just wrote in answers. If I could do it differently, I might have done more of like a verbal assessment or made it even into more of a game, even though they did the video portion or the iPad game also. I just would have liked to change that. And then as far as having a classroom conductive to learning, or the classroom environment, I spaced the groups out. One of them was in the hallway, and then the other two were separate in the room. So I felt like the spacing was fine because there wasn't an issue of distractions. The only problem was one of the groups was blocking the bathroom. So when some of the students had to go to the bathroom, groups would have to move. So that was really the only major problem there. Construct 2 is content knowledge. I felt like I had a thorough knowledge of the content, especially with kindergarten. That's just math that I feel really comfortable with. Of the innovative applications of knowledge, I think measurement's the one where I wish I had elaborated a little more on it, especially with the real world application, because I think I could have done something like relating them measuring their shoe to their shoe size, just stuff like that. And in addition, on the plus and or the addition and subtraction, I could have used not necessarily word problems, but I could have made it more real life. Like if I have 2 cookies and he had 3 cookies, how many would we have all together? Just simple things like that to where they really start to click that, oh, I can use this in real life. And then as far as collaborating with colleagues, I didn't do that because I only taught one day, but I did collaborate with her ahead of time. And then construct 3 was instructional practice. Was it effective in meeting student needs? Again, I think I touched on that earlier. I tried to gear towards the ELLs and the students with ADD and ADHD. I could absolutely improve on it, and I think I'll continue to as I get more practice. But overall, for this being kind of the third major lesson that I created, I felt like I did a good job. Varied assessments. I used a lot more formal assessments, and I wish I had used more informal. That's something I need to do more of, because I think I need to work on recognizing I don't have to take hard copies of assessments every time we do an activity. So for that addition and subtraction, maybe we could have done everything as a group, and they are really literally just telling me the answer, but they're not writing anything down. I don't have a hard copy of it, but I know who got it and I know who didn't get it just from watching. So I think I need to work on that more. Comprehensive instruction, I didn't differentiate as much as I could have just because everyone did exactly the same thing. I tried to make it more geared towards the learner, but I don't know. I just really struggle with differentiation, and that's just something I need to improve on. Higher order thinking skills, again, I think they used some, but a lot of this was building, and a lot of it was the very base step, like measurement they'd never done before, and graphing they'd never done before. So I think it was higher level thinking just because it was new. So I think, but the math I kept more basic. But I think that was okay because I think if you have 3 centers that are all upper level thinking, the kids are just going to get worn out really quickly. And then the last one was construct 4, professional responsibility. As far as reflection and growth, obviously I'm reflecting now, and like I said, the keep has really helped me reflect, so I'll probably just keep having teachers fill that out as I keep going. And then I had growth with this age group because I was with them last semester, so I was even able to see how my lessons and how my working with kindergartners has improved from last August to now. So that was really nice. And then collaboration and leadership, I talked to Mrs. Winholtz in person and also through email, so I felt like I collaborated pretty well for what we were doing. And then I led all of the activities and I created all of the activities, so I felt like the leadership was there too. So overall, I felt like it was a good lesson. There were definitely areas to improve upon, but like I said, for being only my 3rd or 4th really formal lesson, I was pretty proud of it, and I learned a lot from it. So I think overall it was just really good.